This is me. That's not really me. I'm not that relaxed at work. Work can be pretty stressful, but essentially I'm a salaried doctor. And we'll talk about what a salaried GP means in the UK and what kind of the day-to-day is. Now, when I was in med school, we had a locum agency from the UK come to Krakow and do a lecture for us. So they're called ID Medical, and they're actually still around. So if you Google ID Medical, yeah, they're an agency in the UK, and they can probably get you a job, or maybe not. What I'm trying to say here is that you'll get the sense from the start of my story that there are certain mistakes that I made, and I want to talk to you about those mistakes. Now, mistake number one is blindly trusting an agency without doing your own research. Now, in terms of mistake number two, let's go back to when I get this job as a night house officer in Warrington. So super excited. I was so excited. I kind of got into the hospital, and then I'm there, I'm all alone, and I have a list like this of jobs to do. And like, I have no idea how to do anything. And what I mean by that is like, they expect you to manage patients. And so tip number two, or mistake number two, is realize that in the UK, there are these things called guidelines. There are these things called protocols and pathways. And Brits love those kind of things. And that's one of the cool things of living in the UK. The idea is that everything is really kind of straightforward and it's all step by step. And so you have to understand that the UK has certain guidelines. And then the third mistake I want to talk to you about is that I've kind of alluded to this a little bit. So you might get job offers from places that aren't very desirable to live in. But you might think, you know what, I'm an IMG, and so I'll just take anything. And a few of you guys wrote to me, and you're like, yeah, Mike, okay, your story is great, obviously, but COVID, I can't go into a hospital. No one's going to let me into a hospital. How am I supposed to find a consultant who is going to say, yeah, sure, no problem. Why don't you join as a clinical fellow? And so, unfortunately, the answer to that is you are going to have to do a crash course in cold calling. A day in the life of a GP, I work, as I told you, 4 days a week. So I have 8 sessions. A session is about 4 hours, and in a day I will do 2 sessions, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. In my session, I'll typically consult with 14, 15 patients. And then I also have kind of labs. I have some letters from the hospital, some prescriptions that I need to do. I want to tell you guys about the pros and cons of being a GP. So the British answers are, I like the variety of general practice. Now, the second politically correct answer of why is it cool to be a GP? What are the pros of being a GP? They will tell you continuity of care. Now, I'm going to tell you my reasons why I feel it's cool to be a GP. So basically, I like to be the boss of my time, and I like to be the boss of the management of my patients. What I mean by that is GP is amazing because you can plan your work around your life. And then the second thing is that, again, you get the sense that I like guidelines. I like protocols because I feel that gives me amazing confidence. And I don't spend a lot of time thinking, what should I do with this patient? Because I know where that guideline is. I'll just bring it up and I'll just follow it. So right, number 3, things I wish I'd known before applying for GP training. This kind of relates to the third mistake I made when coming to the UK. And so what I mean by that is when I applied for GP training, I didn't get a place in Manchester. I got it in Preston and Chorley. So that's about an hour and a half away. So I would probably tell my younger self, you know what, why don't you just spend a year, just locum, just get a better CV, and then maybe apply next year and maybe you'll get a place in Manchester. So if I was struggling, where would I go? So the first place that I would go is I would go to the person that hired me. I would go to my practice manager. I would go to the senior GP and I would tell them, you know what, I'm just struggling. I'm burning out. Now, if I felt that I wasn't getting what I wanted from them, so I might tell them, you know what, I need to drop a session. I'm burning out. I'm getting really stressed. If I wasn't getting that, I might debrief with some colleagues. So I still have friends that work in other practices in Manchester, and we meet up every few weeks. You know, we go for a few beers, we talk shop, we complain about staff and patients. That's just life. Finally, there is something called an NHS practitioner health site that you can go on to. And if you are a doctor, you can get free help, free counseling, and that kind of thing.